The Lakers have risen to second in the Western Conference. Matthew Stafford in contract drama. It's going to be a yearly event now. A gross yearly event, but a yearly event. And if you're wondering why the Clippers are struggling, it's because James Harden is pooped. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is March 4th, 2025. I am back in Portland for late night work. How late? Even the strip club next door has decided to turn off the lights. Sucks for me, right? But if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means, comment. We do normally start with the scoreboard, but we're trying a new format. We've decided to write down the scores instead of me just prattling on about them. If you want to know the scores, feel free to pause. We're going to get to the news. Now, we don't spend a lot of time here fussing over the day-to-day standings. You know, you take the Dodgers. We just assume they're going to win the NL West, and so be it, right? So why bother? But here's something I don't think any of us would have assumed. The Lakers are now second in the NBA's Western Conference. Their 6-game win streak has boosted them past Memphis, boosted them past Houston, Denver. Mike Malone now has a daddy. And who knew it would be J.J. Redick, who's 13 years younger. Figure out the logistics there. How the hell does that work? Now, to be clear, there's no way the Lakers are going to catch Oklahoma City. But keeping second place would mean that they wouldn't be facing the Thunder until the conference finals, assuming both teams get there. And considering the Thunder were eliminated early in the playoffs last year, that is not exactly a fait accompli. The Thunder were eliminated by, you guessed it, Luka Doncic. Now, Redick is going to get a lot of the credit for the Lakers' resurgence. Cool. I mean, he may very well be a better coach than what I had presumed before the year. I'm perfectly willing to admit I was wrong. It's a little premature, but I'm perfectly willing to admit it. And besides, everybody should get the share of the credit, right? The LA Times, though, is saying that Redick has blossomed into this amazing leader. And I'm like, whoa, guys, let's not make this the Winston Churchill of the NBA. He's got a ways to go before he winds up being like the next Phil Jackson or Pat Riley. Now, can I offer a counterpoint? It's not necessarily that I'm trying to disrespect the work that Redick has done, but since January 15th, the Lakers have produced the number 1 defensive rating in the NBA. And this is despite not having Anthony Davis for much of that time. Because without Anthony Davis, they don't have anybody under the freaking rim. There's no rim protection, and yet they are still excelling at defense. Can I suggest to you that current Lakers defensive coordinator, Nate McMillan, who had a long NBA career in Seattle and is a former NBA head coach, could I suggest to you that Nate McMillan has not been getting enough credit? Remember, the Lakers for the last few years were described on defense as there was no perimeter defense, that they didn't get back on defense because they were too old and slow, that the only guy out there that even tried was Jared Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis. Is it possible that Nate McMillan has been doing such a terrific job that maybe he deserves another look as a head coach? Now, if he does, I would grant you that the scribes would call him a retread hire. He has been a head coach before, 4 times to be exact. But he got the Lakers to play defense. How the hell does that happen? Look at the Lakers. You have a backcourt, you have a senior citizen out there in LeBron. You have another guard in Luka who's crushing Ozempic to try to get back in shape. The Lakers are balling on defense. I never thought those words would ever come out of my mouth. Now, having said that, there's a lot to like with the Lakers, but there are stories about what Austin Reeves is worth and whether or not he would actually stay in LA. He is eligible for an extension on July 6th. The Athletic is saying that the Lakers want to offer Reeves 4 years, maybe a little less than $90 million. But that same scribe says he's going to decline because that's below market value, especially with him as the clear-cut third scoring option. Now, Reeves, again, he can be eligible for an extension this summer. He would actually become a free agent in summer 2026. Now, to be clear, Jovan Buha, the scribe who is writing all this, he has sources for the contract number. The latter about Reeves saying, nah, I'm going to test free agency, that's just Buha whistling in the wind. And I hate people who whistle. So, yeah. Did you enjoy season 2 of Stafford, the Empty Threat? I mean, if you look at it for the whole season, these last 4 to 6 weeks, I thought the writing was a little weak for Stafford, the Empty Threat. You know, the directors, they added new characters to try to spice up the drama between Stafford and the Rams. I just didn't become emotionally involved with the plot, right? Now, fortunately, the writers have an entire year to come up with a much more exciting plot line for season 3. Sean McVay told the LA Times that the worst telenovela in sports is likely going to get renewed every single year. That keeping Matthew Stafford with the Rams is going to be a year-to-year thing until he either retires or signs with another team. Which kind of sucks, because the internet keeps hyping this turd show way more than they hype up Zendaya's acting career. I wouldn't download either a Zendaya movie or Matthew Stafford, The Empty Threat. I wouldn't download either of them for a plane ride. If you're wondering, by the way, how seriously Sean McVay took Stafford's thinly veiled threats to leave, the coach said he knew it was full of more crap than 30 septic tanks. McVay said Stafford leaving was, quote, never something that I ever thought would occur, unquote. The coach added he expects the drama to return again, but it's going to be in short story form, because the first time where it was Stafford, the Empty Threat, that lasted months. That lasted into training camp. This time, month and a half, maybe next year, the third, it'll be like a weekend or something. That won't even be enough time for Stafford's wife to podcast about it. Meanwhile, McVay also left this teeny-weeny crack in the door about Cooper Kupp. He told the LA Daily News, quote, I would never speak in absolutes, but I do think let's gather all the information. We'll take it a day at a time, unquote. So because of that quote, which doesn't even mention Cooper Kupp's name, you can now expect a flood of "we predict Cooper Kupp is staying in LA" posts whenever you Google search Rams rumors. There is one reason to believe Kupp could return. Rams general manager Les Snead says that if a split is inevitable, you make it immediate. Well, the split hasn't been immediate, right? Maybe there is a change of heart. But keep in mind, we have no idea, none, of what the Rams cap space looks like. The Stafford deal hasn't been finalized. We don't know how much that's going to count against it. And by the way, the Rams are probably still thinking if you get rid of Cooper Kupp, who has been injury prone, spend a draft pick on a wide receiver, you still have cap space theoretically, maybe to go get yourself a linebacker. And I've been reading that the linebacker market is pretty decent for the Rams. Most of the linebackers that are available stuff the run, which is kind of nice for the Rams when you remember that Saquon Barkley still exists. Kind of important. James Harden has struggled after the All-Star break, and Clippers coach Ty Lue said that there is a factor heading into the slump. Quote, "You definitely can see some fatigue setting in. He's played in almost every game, and he's had to carry this team for what? 50 games? 40, 45 games with Kawhi being out," unquote. Now, to be clear, I don't know necessarily if you say it's all James Harden. Norman Powell has been leading the team in scoring. And by the way, Leonard has also been picking up a big chunk of the slack. You might recall, if you watched the Clippers play the Lakers on Sunday, Leonard scored 33 points. They lost, but Leonard was trying to pull his weight, wouldn't you say? Angel City signed two kinda newcomers in forward Riley Tiernan and midfielder Hannah Johnson. They were non-roster invitees to January camp. They impressed the coaches at Golachella. Perhaps Tiernan is the one with more upside. Hers is a 2-year contract. Johnson, she's just through June. Would you let me know what you think in the comments thread? Talk to me, for example, about who should get the credit for the Lakers rising to second in the West. And for that matter, do you really want to see a third season of Matthew Stafford and his empty threats to leave? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.